Good morning. I'm going to call this session of the Board of Revision to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. With me this morning is Brett McIntyre right to my left and Ken Silent farther to my left. The City of Winnipeg is represented by Mr. Mirek Froelich, and our Secretary is Kelsey Harrison. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rules in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision have been requested are described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements made by applicants and the assessor must be sworn testimony, and both must be sworn in prior to testifying. Be advised that comparative assessments are not considered as evidence by our board. Our board is appointed annually by council. We are independent of it and the city administration. We make our decisions on the basis of the evidence that we hear, and we issue written orders that we mail as soon as possible to all parties. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to an exemption from taxation. And should a party wish to appeal, the information how to do so will be included with our order. With respect to the hearing process, I will defer the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by any questions. The applicant will then provide his testimony, followed by any questions, and each party will be given an opportunity to summarize if they wish to do so. Once all evidence and applications have been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The person will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard. We will deliberate in private and make our decisions thereafter. You will receive a written order to mail as soon as possible. And information today is being recorded to form a part of a public record. Thank you. You can swear in the parties.
Could you please state your name?
Derek Kroll.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Do you swear in or affirm?
Swear.
Could you please state your name?
David Ishi McIntyre?
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Do you have any evidence for me for this matter?
No.
Okay, Mr. Froelich, the first matter we're dealing with right now is 450 Debate Street, and when you're ready, you can proceed.
Yep, for sure, and I actually think for this one here,
Yes.
the applicant would like to withdraw this appeal.
Yes, I'd like to withdraw this appeal. But I screwed up the form this morning when I looked at it. I knew I would screw it up, that's why I didn't send it in earlier.
And this was 847.
No, this is 450 debates.
Yep,
Okay, I'm wrong.
32977 is the business ID number.
Item number 5.
Just sign at the bottom and dates, and I'll fill
Okay.
out the
Thanks
rest.
very much. Can we get the right date on this?
Okay. That'll bring us then, Mr. Froelich, to item number 6, which is 1521 Dugold Road. And when you're ready to proceed.
Thank you. File number's 195922. Roll years for 2020, address is 1521 Dugald. Business ID is 38419. Initially, the ARV value was 70,740, using 2,402 square feet. Looking at comparable information, we decided to reduce the rent to $26 a square foot, and the new ARV value is 68,340.
68,
340.
340.
I will accept that recommendation.
You're accepting that, okay?
Yes.
And that's based on the information you've set out for us here?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
At $26 a square foot.
Yeah, I looked at the market comparables, there were some low, some high. I felt that the $26 was fair.
Any questions, panel members?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I don't have any written. Oh, okay, this is. That's-
So your brief doesn't include any rent comparables?
No, not if I'm making a recommendation,
Okay, thank you.
and if I've had conversations with the applicant, and following the board decision.
Well, yeah, although technically, we are supposed to be satisfied
Yep.
with the decision, and without comparisons, we only have your word
Yep.
that is reasonable.
Yep.
Not that I doubt your word at all,
Yeah.
but we're supposed to make our decisions based on,
Yep.
on evidence, so in the future, Mr. Bullock, I think you should provide some evidence.
Yeah, you know what, in
'Cause
fairness,
other- 'cause otherwise-
Mr. Diamond, with regards to time constraints on some
No,
of these,
I
it's just like.
understand.
And in fairness, if I had time to do 15 ones, I would have to do 15 ones as well. I got case management on the go.
I understand that, but we're
Yeah.
supposed to make decisions
Yeah.
based on evidence,
Yeah.
and technically, we can't really do our job properly
Yeah.
if we don't have it,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it-
So I'm not trying to chastise you, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to say that we have certain constraints that we're supposed to look at,
yep.
and I'll trust you on this one,
Okay,
because, but basically, we're not supposed to be rubber stamps, we're supposed to actually see evidence,
yep.
okay? Okay, so
And my
that,
apologies too, we went through a number of leases.
Yeah, I'm not
It
asking-
was really tight time frame for all the, for all
I understand that,
Yeah,
and I'm not
yeah.
trying to
Yeah,
chastise
yeah,
anybody,
no,
I'm just
I
trying to say
understand.
that we have a mandate that we're
Yeah.
supposed to follow.
Understand.
And it makes it difficult for
It
us,
does.
and it's not that we doubt you for a second, but it makes, we should have something
Yeah.
to go on,
Okay.
okay? And, this is new for everybody right now, we just did
Yep.
these, so, but in the
Yeah.
future, anybody here.
It's just gonna be very simple, it's gonna be a print screen and it won't be pretty.
And you know what, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because then we have looked at some evidence,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be pretty.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
because like,
Yeah.
for different reasons, and like Jared, Mr. Becker and I had a conversation.
No, I understand, Mr. Fullick, and I'm just saying, we'll work with you, but you have to work with us.
Yep, for sure,
Okay.
I'll definitely give you something moving forward, other than this, what the briefs that I've already created for that for a due date on Monday.
For sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, well now, go on to 333 debates. And Mr. Fullick, are you ready on that one?
Yep, for sure, it's, file numbers 195062, business ID numbers 2412. Initially, the ARV value was 353,040 on 31,987 square feet. We decided to make a recommendation to match the 2020 Realty 15-1 of $8.02. The new value is $324,600.
And
We'll
this-
set that up.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, that future matters, and so you're free to leave whatever you want, we should do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have the 51 here if you want to see.
It's okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Do you want some evidence that's just for all the record for
Okay.
posterity?
Could you please state your name?
Jared Story?
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And sorry, did you say you were distributing that, or?
Yeah, that's just to put it to be the record, but
Okay.
we're accepting reps and confirming, so that's,
Okay.
fighting with that, there's, the evidence is there if you're.
Well, yeah, that's nice, we'll look at that.
Sure.
Okay, so, Mr. Philip, the next matter we're doing is 101 Weston Street.
Yep.
And you can proceed when you're ready.
File number is 195467. Roll number is 27024. Initially, the ARV was 3,355,620, using an area of 461,434. This is the West Shore Foods location on the corner of Weston and Notre Dame. Very large center. I had the opportunity to inspect it. Based on my inspection, we actually did a 15-1 for this property. And so we reduced, based on the 15-1, the new value for this property is $2,746,560.
And
We are in accordance.
you have it, do you have some rent comparables that,
No, this is
okay,
this has been negotiated prior to the hearing, so.
okay.
It follows the realty decision, that's the,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, but even that, really decisions could be wrong, and we still have a mandate to make a decision based on evidence.
In the future, I'll bring the.
Yeah, appreciate that. Well-
Yeah, I have you for a couple.
And the assessors will too.
Sure.
Okay? Any questions, board members?
So what's 15.1 agreement?
15-1?
Yeah.
A 15-1 is the agreement which is the agreement to prevent a board revision appeal to go to the municipal board. So once a 15-1 is signed, what happens is there's no other further appeal process. If there's a board decision that takes place where, they cut the assessment from $10 million to $9 million, if there's no 15-1 agreement, the applicant has the right to take it to the municipal board.
Excellent.
So that prevents that.
Thanks.
Okay, and that leads us next to item number 9 on the docket, which is 1315 Notre Dame Avenue. And Mr. Fuller, are you ready?
Yeah, File number is 195477. Address is 1315 Notre Dame. Business ID number is 31812. Initially, the ARV value was $897,600, using 73,513 square feet. Based on the 2020 realty decision, we'd like to make a recommendation of $819,660. And as you can see, that the original rent was $976, and the board decision rent worked out to $8.70 for the blended rate for the entire property.
That's right. We agree.
And Mr. Fuller, if you had seen the evidence that was provided at the realty,
Yeah, I actually represented this property.
Yep.
And actually, we had an error on this property with regards to some of the square footage. And so what ended up happening was that, based on that information, we did some adjustments. It was a moving target actually, because initially the initial value for this property was $19,325,000. And it was quite a significant cut at the hearing,
Right.
where they cut it to $14,231,000. And, it is an older building, because this is just the 1BA portion of it. The
Right.
entire building's 225,000 square feet.
so you've had an opportunity of comparing similar rents, and you're satisfied $870 per square foot is reasonable?
Yeah, because this is all, we had it listed as an OFB, which wasn't correct. It should be an OFS. And so what happened is, there's further work that needs to be done on this property. I'm doing an inspection on this with Rod moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
But I feel, it's Manitoba Hydro, Crown Corporation,
Right.
there's a variety of things. And one of the mistakes that we had on this property is that, and Jarrett would know this, is that we had only one PID for the entire property. So 3-story building, 2 stories and a basement, but we had a higher rent on the basement. We had the $9 rent on the basement, which was incorrect.
Okay, so that's an overall blended
Yeah.
rate then, 170? Thank you. Any questions by board members? Sorry.
No questions.
Thank you. Okay, we'll proceed then. So that takes us then to 1800 Inkster Boulevard, Mr. Philip, when you're ready.
Yep, for sure. Yep, for, the file number is 195510. Roll number is 21114. Initially, the ARV value was 2,450,760, using in the area of 487,500 square feet. There's different components of this building. It's, you know, it is the Sobeys of Inkster, so it's, if you've driven through Inkster Industrial Park, you would have seen it on the north side of the, pardon me, the south side of Inkster. What we have here is we'd like to reduce the value to 2,291,340 to match the realty decision of 2020.
Acceptable?
We accept it.
Any questions, Mr. Sutter?
No, Mr. Chair.
No question.
Okay, I have no questions either, thank you.
The one thing interesting about this is with land to building ratio, they actually expanded the property. Like the land to building ratio was actually quite high, and this is brand new for me as a learning doing industrial properties, is that they added like 122,000 square feet. So right now their land to building ratio is only like 2 to 1, but they still have great access for the trucks. A part of it was the trucks moving in and moving out. So the low land to building ratio is not an issue here in my eyes from a realty perspective. I know the argument is still made, but
It probably enhances the property then, because they can, if it has the access with this property, they're
Yeah.
getting better usage out of it.
and in my brief, you know, on this one here, I don't know, you know, yeah, it's just interesting, like things that I've learned over the past cycle, right?
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for that.
No, thank you.
You want more information, so I'm giving verbal testimony, just some of the background stuff.
And we appreciate that, Mr. Fuller.
Okay.
It lightens the boardroom.
Yeah, well, it's,
Very good.
we're always learning from each other, right?
So we're next going to go on then to 10 Hutchings Street. And we're ready, you can proceed with that one.
For this property here, file number is 195210. Roll number is 40735. We have a total ARV value of 1,198,140, using 177,494 square feet. And what we've done here is we showed the lease information for this property that's been provided to us by the property owner in the income and expense mailing process. They're actually reporting a rent of, on the subject of lease information, about 10 years for 3 months at $5.59. And if you look at above that, where the model generated rent that we're using here is $4.63. So in that regard, we feel that our overall rental value for this, for the ARV for this is quite fair. What I've done here is I've taken some larger properties that are in the neighborhood or that are comparable, because once you get to properties that are greater than 100,000 square feet, you know, there's a range of rents and they're harder to come by. So I got some properties, 3 of them are in the northwest quadrant, similar to the subject property, and 1 of them's on the cloud. And so the first one here at 1345 Redwood is at $6.53. This is a superior property, so it has a superior rent. We also have properties at 1750 Inkster at $5.17. I do believe this property has a large amount of surplus land on this property, which is why the rent is a bit higher. 861 McLeod at 525, 1150 Fife at 450. So as you can see here, all these reported areas are greater than 95,000 square feet, slightly smaller than the subject property. If you look on the page, on the next page here, they're actually trying to lease out the space here. And so what they have here is, this is an advertisement, just giving you an overview of the property on page 2. And this was actually in my realty brief here. This is the location of it, of the property here. And so as you can see on page 3, where it is located at, off of Burroughs and off of Hutchins, in Northwest. You see an overview with regards to the access issues of it. Property has, the land to building ratio is only 2:1, but here you have a situation where the trucks have a lot of access to it, so that's good. And here's some property features of the subject property at 177,742 square feet. Modern office development, high bay warehouse. Ceiling height that we have here is plus or minus 24 feet. And this is from the Collier's listing, 600 amp service, precast construction. And here are the potential sizes for that on page 4. Page 5 shows some pictures of the subject property, of the warehouse space and the office space. And looking at it overall, what ended up happening here is that we're defending this value because the listing here is significantly higher than our model. And, the actual rent that was in place here at one time is higher than our model. There was a reduction of initially our model value for this property. The value for this property was $10,770,000. This is a realty value for it. I'm just reading off this. It was cut to $10.2 million, and the applicant feels that the assessment is still too high. So subsequently, which is why we're defending it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Mrs.?
No, I just would like to say that we are asking for confirmation. This, the realty decision is pending hearing at the Mountain Municipal Court.
Okay.
So we'd like to confirm this so that the two can be.
Okay, so that's going to confirm. Okay.
And that's the same for the next one, so we can.
Yeah. I'm just going through the process because I don't have any comparables.
That's fine. Well,
Well, I do got comparables in this one here.
you do have. Thank you. Unfortunately, and persuasive, I could say.
I like to think so. Obviously, the board didn't feel that I was that persuasive at the hearing, but what can you do, eh? That's why I can't do comparables, because I gotta prepare for case management.
Okay, anyway, we'll adhere to the applicant's request,
Yeah.
and we'll go on to the next one.
Next property we have here is 1555 Chevrier. Let me get my brief. File number is 195683. Roll number is 2020. Business ID number is 42808. The blended rate for this property is $4.63. It has two areas. One of the areas is 214,000 square feet. The other one is 71,000 square feet. And the total ARV that we have for this property is $1,878,120. Once again, similar to my comparables that I used on the other ones. Our rents range from $422 to $653. We feel a rental rate of $4.63 is very for this property, and we're asking for it to be confirmed.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Again, we're just asking for confirmation as it is pending, the realty decision is pending, scheduling the Mountain Municipal Court.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll adhere to that as well. So that completes your matters.
Thank you very much.
And we have three more.
Yep.
To do with, yeah.
And all these, these are ones that are confirmed, so just so they're.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. You too.
Okay, so when you're ready, we're gonna go back to 835 Marion Street.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, sir.
Here you go. File number is 195127. Address for this property is 835 Marion. Business ID number is 3021. Initial ARV value for this property is 104,580, using a premise area of 18,603. What we did for the subject property is we reduced the rent to match the 2020 board order, and the new value is 91,320.
Okay, so again, in the future, we would just like to see some rental
Yep.
comparisons, because I'm assuming, probably correctly, that cool heads with the assessment department
Yeah,
will make a good decision, but we still have to make a decision ourselves based on evidence, so in
Yeah,
the
for
future.
sure.
Okay?
yep, I understand
Thank you.
completely. And one of the point of contentions that occurred last year, and I wasn't a part of that hearing, but one of my colleagues told me about this, is that, you know, what if it's, so in this situation, I knew that they were taking it to the municipal board. I still felt it was appropriate for me to provide comparables.
Right.
Just to, for whatever reasons, because there's some applicants that will still wanna fight all the properties despite agreements that will come here. So they'll take it as an opportunity to get a lower value so they can waive the board decision at the municipal board.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and definitely, you know, there were comparisons that were obviously utilized in the realty hearing.
Yeah.
And so they should be available fairly easily for you to put together.
yeah, it's
to
just the
bring-
formatting's a bit.
You know, I know.
Yeah, it's more of a challenge, the formatting for this in some regards, like,
Yeah.
and because this way you want a nice one-page thing, and so, yeah, I understand, I'll modify the ones, because I've already worked on my briefs that are due on Monday,
Okay,
and so I'll have to throw something into, for you guys.
yeah.
Okay, on that, oh yeah, I'll have to make 6 copies, okay,
Okay, well,
yeah,
thank you.
for sure, I'm just thinking out loud,
Yeah,
so I
sure.
apologize.
Okay, so let's go on to 851 Marion.
Yep. File number is 193130. Roll number is 3024. We have an ARV of 41,760. And to match the 2020 order, we are looking to make a recommendation of 35,160. And that concludes my presentation for this.
Anything we said on this one, we just said, so we won't
Yeah.
repeat it.
Did we forget one?
Yeah, we have one more somewhere.
Yeah, there's one more.
347, Marion.
I must have, do I have it here somewhere? I must have.
Item 3.
Yeah.
And that one is 3023? No.
Yeah,
3024.
847 is.
3024.
No, I haven't even seen it. Oh, hang on. I do. Okay.
3023.
847 Marion.
847 is
Yep.
3023.
And then 851 is 3024.
So 847 Marion is what we
Yep,
have to do.
yep.
Okay.
195130.
Okay.
Roll number is 30224. Initial ARV value was 41,760, utilizing 7,160 square feet. We decided to match the 2020 board order, and the new value for this property would be 35,160.
You just did this.
Did we do this one?
Yeah, sorry.
560,
8,
24,
we're on item number 3, file 19-5128, 847 Marion, and then the roll number is 3023.
I thought we did that one first.
No, we did
No, we did
835 first.
835, and then we skipped item 3, went to item 4.
Sorry about that, yeah, that was my
Okay.
mistake.
Sorry, it's all very similar.
Yeah, okay,
They
so
are.
I got them all here.
Okay,
I don't know, tell me which one you want to hear and I'll write it.
okay, we want to do 847 Marion.
Okay, which is 3023.
Okay,
Okay. Initial ARV value was 86,340. And after consulting with the applicant and matching the 2020 board order, the new value will be 74,880.
Okay, thank you.
Are we good?
Back to business matters.
Okay. Awesome.